What if Deku had the Omnitrix's power? Welcome back to Nothing But Anime. Everyone, we're on part 14 of the What If Deku Had the Omnitrix's Power series. If you like what you're watching, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it. In the city of Mizutofu, people were busy going about on their day as a news broadcast was playing on one of the city's mega screens. Up next, an update on yesterday's incident involving the U-Data Rescue Center and the mysterious flying aircraft that exploded. At the U-Data Rescue Center, 40 Hero Corps students were attacked by a gang of villains who call them the League of Villains. One student defeated a villain that was sent in to kill All Might as they were planning on killing new U-Data teacher and popular hero. All Might, according to what the police official said. Said student was kidnapped by an unknown figure who was believed to be an unknown villain, but the student escaped with minor injured as he was the cause of the aircraft that was soaring over Mizutofu yesterday. The remains are being taken in of observation by officials. Be on the lookout as the League of Villain escapades with two associates. The news anchor said as the news was finished. At an unknown building, at an old rundown building, an elderly man was inside the building as he just received a letter from an old student. Greeting, the air is warm here. Feels like summer is just around the corner. Hope this letter finds you well, sir, in good health and even better spurts. This semester, I took a position as a teacher at UA High. Ha, that's right, I'm now guiding the next generation of heroes. I was hoping to finding someone worthy to inherit my power amongst the elite students of the school. A hero in training with outstanding test scores and a powerful quirk. But before I started my job at U-Data, I met a young man. Even thought he was weak and had no quirk of his own, he showed incredible bravery. He rushed into a dangerous situation that caused pro-heroes, including myself, to hesitate. He managed to save a life of a classmate. He may not have had a plan when he acted, but he knew he had to do something. I feel like seeing this young man spring into action taught me something that day. It reminded me the reasons that I must embody to even call myself a hero. That's why I meant it when I said to him, "Young man, you too can be a hero." Soon after, I told this young pupil the secret of my power, the pose that I transfer to. This ability I have that's been passed on from person to person, cultivated and made stronger. The crystallization that binds itself to one's courageous heart. For the good for those in need. One of all. He accepted without hesitation and being to train so he can face the many trials he would have to face in the hero course at U-Data, but something happened to him one night after train. He obtained a device that activated his dormant quirk that allows him to transform into various forms with their own special abilities thanks to his dormant quirk thanks to this device. Even with that now on him, he still fought hard to be ready to wield OFA and the device which he told me was called the Omnitrix. He struggled to get used to his newfound abilities, but he never stopped fighting. He gave his 100% as he tries to harness OFA both in human and in his forms. I didn't like toot my own horn, but I believe that I found the perfect person to pass my quirk on to. He's shown me time and time again that he has what it takes to be a real hero. I'm still quite new to this role as an instructor. The day may come where I must trouble you, my old teacher of advice. I'll be counting on your wisdom and patience when that time comes. Until then, please take care of yourself as the seasons being to change. I'll continue to keep you updated about what's happening. Sincerely yours. The elderly man finishes reading the letter and takes a bite of a cooked pastry fish. So, Toshinori has found a worthy successor, the man said before he chuckled. Least hope he knows how to use his successor can handle his aliens and OFA well. Otherwise, I must have to call in on a friend to help me out here, the man said as on a shelf, an old-looking metal circular disc-like object with a green hourglass shape on it. Time: 18:05 p.m. Earth Time. UA High, Mizutofu, Japan. It was now nighttime and in an office. The staff members sat to a U-shaped table while one police officer was standing in the room while holding a piece of paper. Our investigators are trying to learn about this so-called League of Villains, and we were about to investigate that ship that was destroyed during this attack, but we didn't have clearance to do so, the cop said. What do you mean you don't have clearance? Snipe asked. I mean what I said. We don't have the clearance to do an investigation on it. The ones who do are already on it. Anyway, let's go back to what we were saying. We've had some progress, but we can't find anything on this Shigaraki so far. We've searched our records for men in their 20s to 30s with some sort of decay quirk registered. But nothing, and the same goes of that Kurogiri, but we've sort close with the last one. All we know is that he's called Kevin. We looking for his records, but it'll take a while, the cop said. So what you're saying is that we have nothing to go on, Midnight said. That's right, the cop said. We've got to track them down. That lady who was there shot their ringleader, but I can tell that when he heals up, he'll probably pull something like this again. What a pain, Snipe said as All Might looked down. He does seem the type, All Might uttered out quietly, but Nizu heard him. Is something on your mind, All Might? Nizu asked. The attack on the USJ was too bold. No sane adult would ever attempt it. From what I heard, The ringleader kept monologuing the reasons he was there and bragged about Nomu's many quirks, but he never said a word about his own powers. When things didn't go his way, he was physically upset. Like he was going to throw a tantrum, but luckily for us, young Midoriya's quirk saved the day when he burned Nomu out and caused him to collapse due to exhaustion. All Might sighed while looking up in the air. That might be true, yes, but it was a bad idea for him to reveal his quirk while fighting instead of keeping them a secret. Nizu said as the cop nodded his head in agreement. Shigaraki made wild, immature claims, but did so with a completely straight face. And what young Todoroki said, he talked about Nomu like it was his pet or something. It seems as if he has never been told no before. He thought that things would go his way no matter what. He has the personality of a spoiled little brat. A man-child, All Might said. A child with incredible power thought. It seems he never got the quirk consoling that children get in elementary school. Midnight put her opinion on this. If that's so, it does really matter now, Snipe said. There were 72 villains arrested in the aftermath of this incident. Plus, 2 of the 3 villains who captured one Izuku Midoriya are missing while one has vanished. We're on the lookout for them but it'll be nearly impossible seeing we have nothing on them. The villains are small-time thugs who usually were in alleys and backrooms. What worries me is this man-child got them together into his little group and they followed him as their leader. If he can do that, who knows what will happen in the future. Especially if villains feel like they are under pressure with the rise of heroes. The cop said. I guess that makes sense. All Might said. There are plenty of people who will follow anything nowadays. Snipe said while leaning back to his chair. So, what can we do to stop them? Midnight asked, worried about the students. Well, it's thanks to you heroes that we have the time to investigate this. We'll keep you updated if anything comes up, the cop said. A man-child, huh? In some ways, he shares the same common ground as our students. They both have so much potential. And like our students, it's possibly that someone is guiding him, trying to nurture his villainy. Nizu said as All Might felt a chill going down his spine. I don't want to think what that could mean, All Might said. Yes, which is why I hired a few new staff members to assist us in security, Nizu said as he got up from his chair. New staff members? Who could they be? Midnight asked, curious as to whom Nizu hired for help, and she wasn't the only one. I've hired 2 new people into the school as a teaching assistant for class 1A and B, and as security as well. I've appointed one of them as my own personal assistant, Nizu said as everyone was curious to see who did their boss has hired. You may come in now, Nizu said as the door opens and 2 people walked in with one of them. A tall one while the other person was shorter to them. All Might's and Snipe's eyes widen at who just walked into the room. No way, it's you. The next day, it was morning and students were making their way to UA after a few days of a break following the aftermath of the USJ attack. Izuku and Lucy were walking down the hallways for U.A to their homeroom, but Izuku was thinking on something. He was replaying everything that had happened during that day. He nearly died, not once but twice in that day. He fought that creature which the villains called Nomu. He saw his old childhood friend but said friend is a part of the villains. He was captured by aliens and fought the being who was responsible of his father's death, and he apparently saved not just the city but the whole world in one day. Man, what a day. He knew that his classmates would have heard and seen him fight and being captured, and they probably wanted answers. A lot he didn't want to answer. The poor boy sighs and Lucy sees this. What's wrong, Izzy? Lucy asked her favorite cousin/crush to see what was wrong. I really don't want to answer the questions I'll get if I go in there. Maybe if I get leave now and hide at home. I can avoid this no problem. Izuku yelled as he was about to book at home and hide in his room, but before he could go through with his plan, Lucy grabbed the back of his bag and bopped him on the head hard. Ow! Why did you do that? Izuku asked as he rubs his head. To stop you from yourself. You still think that you're in middle school. They are our friends, so I don't think they'll think of you twice due to what happened to you. I think they're just worried about you, Lucy said. Yeah, but, Izuku was saying but was cut off by Lucy. But nothing. They are our friends and they trust you. So I think you should trust them as well, Lucy said as she looks at him. Yeah, I should, Izuku said, feeling ashamed of himself. That's the spirit. Let's get inside, Lucy said as she opens the door to homeroom 1A, and everyone in room stopped what they were doing when they saw the 2 cousins walk into the room, and then Kirishima, Shiro, Sato and Kaminari jumped from their desks and rushed to the boy. Hey my bro Dia, what's happening man? Kirishima greeted the cinnamon roll who looked confused. Yeah man, how it going? Looks like you're good as new, Kaminari said. Yeah, we saw that huge flaming tornado you made to beat that one villain. That was awesome, Shiro said, remaining the class of the utter power Izuku used to beat the thing that was designed to kill All Might. Yeah, and I heard what you did. That was awesome how you went and saved Tsu, Mineta and that one chick in Class B when you guys were confronted by that villain. Sato complimented Izuku on his achievement. Oh, it was nothing, Izuku nervously said. He wasn't used to people invading his bubble yet. Izuku, Izuku turned to see Achiko was waving to him with Mina and Tsu standing next to her. Excuse me, Izuku said as he left the boys to go to the girls. Hey there Midori. Glad to see that you're fine, Mina said with a smile on her face. Why yeah. I'm glad that you're fine too, Izuku said before he looked down and saw bandages on Mina's hands and frowns. Mina, are you really okay? Izuku asked with concern in his tone as Mina sees that he was looking at her injured hands. Oh, I'm fine. They don't hurt as much anymore. Recovery girl will heal me before I leave of home today. So, don't sweat it, Mina said while giving a thumbs up to Izuku. Oh okay, I just don't like to see you in pain. Please don't do something like that again, Izuku said with a bright smile. Mina looks at the smile and blushes. Oh only if you do the same then, Mina said with her head turned to the side to try and hide her blush from him. Sure, deal, Izuku said. He missed the blush but the blush was seen by 5 girls in the room. Izuku turns to the 1A's frog girl. Hey Tsu, glad to see you're fine, you know. After all what's happened, Izuku said with rubbing his head. I'm glad too. Midori-chan, I want to say that I'm sorry, Tsu said as she confused Izuku. Sorry? Sorry for what? Izuku asked. I'm sorry that I was useless when that hand villain was in front of us. I just stood there in fear while you sprang into action and fought that villain alone. I'm sorry for being weak. I wish I can repay you somehow, Tsu said with her head down in shame. It's okay Tsu. You don't have to apologize for something like that. It's not your fault. That day was a life and death situation and that Shigaraki guy almost killed you and I had to do what was needed to be done. Plus, it was my fault for making everyone worry like that and nearly dying like that. If it hadn't been of my watch, I'd be dead right now, Izuku said. I know but I still feel like I owe you one. So thank you for saving me back there, Tsu said. No problem, Izuku said. Hai felt something tug on his sleeve and looked to see Uraraka giving him a sad puppy dog eyes. Please don't do something like that again Izuku. It scared us into thinking we lost one classmate, especially you. Please, promise that you won't do something so reckless like that again, Achiko said with a sad face on. I promise, Izuku said as he looked away from her as her face was cute with the expression that was on now. He looked around and saw Momo looking at him with a sad face before she looked down when she saw him looking at her. Excuse me, but I have to speak with someone, Izuku said as he makes his way to the creation girl. Hey Momo, how are you today? Izuku greeted the girl who looked at him and get a smile on her face. Hi Izuku. I'm glad you're fine Tori and I'm doing okay, she said before her face expression changed to sadness. Look Izuku. I'm sorry for slapping you like that the other day. My emotions were all over the place and I took them out on you. But, it's just I was so worried about you. I still had the images of you falling to the ground and crashing to it hard. I was just scared that you died, Momo said with a tear falling down her face. Izuku sees this and crouches to her level. No, don't be. Look, you had all the right to slap me in the face. I deserved it. I acted before thinking clearly and it nearly costed me my life. But I couldn't let Tsu die like that and I needed to do what was needed. Remember, that promise I made was broken but I fixed it and made it bigger. I promise I'll get stronger and I'll stay alive so we can become heroes together. I'll be here for you no matter what, Izuku said as he wipes the tear from Momo's face and smiles. Momo receives a small dust of pink of her cheeks, but she smiles gently. Thank you Izuku. That's what I needed to hear, Momo said as she places a hand onto his chest, causing him to blush and have steam coursing off him. Across the room, Urarela and Mina had comedic jealous looks on their faces as they watched the two interact. Lucy just smiles widely but she had an eerie aura around her and her eyebrow twitched while Izuku and Momo were speaking. Tsu looked the same but deep down. She knew she was jealous as well from watching how close Momo is to the boy who saved her life not once but twice. One girl in the room looked at the two interact and gets jealous from it. She was debating on her feelings onto Izuku after the USJ attack but she needed help on it later. Bakugo listened onto Momo and Izuku's conversation and felt like throwing up. He wanted info on his former childhood friend and his quirk. He saw what Izuku did to the Nomu and it made him pissed off to see just how much power Izuku had on him. He wanted to force it out on him but he knew better since he didn't want a repeat of what happened during the first day. Todoroki watched the two but focused onto the green-haired, watch-wearing boy. He had been focusing onto Izuku since the battle training as he wanted more info on Izuku and his aliens. He got more interested from witnessing the firepower he used back at the USJ. But the question is, why? Hey you guys, did you see the news last night? Toru asked Shoji and Ojiro. Yeah, Ojiro answered. It was so cool that we got a few seconds for screen time. Thought. I bet nobody noticed me hanging around in the background, Toru said with a sad expression on her face, which couldn't be seen due to her being invisible. Probably not, Shoji said. It is difficult to stand out when you're just wearing gloves. Ojiro pointed out the only way to see Hagakure in her hero outfit. We're totally big deals. Those news channels love us. We basically celebrities, Kaminari said as she leans back to his chair. Yeah, it's kinda crazy, right? Kirishima said. Get over yourselves. The hero course that pumps out pros got attack and something kidnaps one of us. That's what they care about, Jairu said, using her fingers to twirl her left earlobe. Who knows what would have happened to us and Class B if Midoriya didn't burn them up and the teachers came, Zero said. Yeah, and let's not forget that woman who shot that hand villain. Hey Midoriya, who is that short plump woman with that big gun? She seems to know you, and how did you manage to use so much power back there? Kirishima asked. Izuku panicked. He didn't want to tell anyone who his mom was or how did she got there in time to shoot Shigaraki. As if the universe finally cut a break of him, Ida busted onto the room and ran to the podium. Attention! Homeroom class is about to begin. Everyone stop talking and take your seats. Ida yelled, but everyone was already at their desks and sitting. We're all sitting, Kirishima said. Yeah, you're the only one standing, Zero said. Ida sees this mistake and rushes back to his chair. Dang it, Ida mumbled out, feeling embarrassed and frustrated from his miscalculation. Don't sweat it, Uraraka said, trying to cheer up Ida. Hey Tsu, so who do you think is going to teach class today? Mina asked her friend while leaning back onto her chair but nearly falls but was saved by the frog girl. No idea. Mr. Aizawa's still at the hospital recovering from his injuries. The same goes for Class B's Vlad King, Sue said while placing a finger onto her chin. As if her question was answered, Mr. Aizawa in all of his glory opened the door, but he had bandages and casts all over his body with his face covered and his arms in supporting wraps. Morning class, Aizawa said in muffled voice thanks to the wrapping on his face. Mr. Aizawa, what are you doing here? The class yells, surprised and shocked by the sudden appearance of their homeroom teacher. Whoa, what a pro, Kaminari said with a shocked face. Mr. Aizawa, I'm glad you are okay, Ida said as the hero made his way to the podium. You call that? Okay, Uraraka said, still shocked. My well-being is irrelevant. What's more important is that your fight isn't over yet, Aizawa said as he stands at the front of the class. Our fight? Bakugo asked, intrigued at what he said. Don't tell me, Izuku said, feeling a bit scared. Not more bad guys, Mineta said, fearing that them had to fight some more villains. Aizawa's eyes could be seen through his wrappings as he looks at his students. The U.A sports festival is about to start, Aizawa finishing what he was about to say. Why would you scare us like that? The students yelled. Let's go kick some ass, Kirishima yelled, excited about the sports festival, but Kaminari put his hand onto the redhead's face to shut him up. Wait a second, he said. Is it really such a good idea to hold the sports festival so soon after the villains snuck inside and right after Midoriya got kidnapped by someone else? Jairu asked. They could attack once we're all in the same place. Ojiro joined in, thinking that it wasn't a good idea. Apparently the principal thinks it's a good way to show the threat has been handled and our school is safer than ever. Plus, they're beefing up security than pasted years. This event is a huge opportunity for students here at UA. It's something we can't cancel just because for a few villains and someone else breaking in, Aizawa said as Mineta was still not too sure about this. I'm sorry, but why not? It's just a sports festival, Mineta said, which caused Izuku to look at him oddly. Mineta, don't you know how important this competition is? Izuku asked. Of course I do. I just don't want to die now, Mineta said with fear. Our sports festival is one of the most watched events in the entire world. In the past, it was the Olympics Games, but that quirks appeared and it was drastically reduced to its former glory. For anyone who cares about competition, there's only one tournament in the world that matters. The U.A sports festival. Aizawa explained the importance of this event. That's right. Top heroes all over Watch will be watching. This is where you get scouted, Momo said with a fist in the air in determination. Yeah, unless you're dead, Mineta said. Think about, this can make or break your hero career right before it even starts. So this is our chance to showcase our skills, Lucy said. She's right. After graduating, a lot of people join pro agencies as sidekicks, Kaminari said. Yeah, but that's how far as some people will go. They miss their chance to go indie and stay as sidekicks. Actually, that's probably where you're headed. Kinda dumb, Jairu bluntly said to Kaminari, causing the electric quirk user to flinch. It's true that joining a famous agency can guard your greater experience and popularity. That's why this festival matters. If you want to go pro one day, then this event can open a path for you. 1 chance a year, 3 chances in a lifetime. Those inspiring heroes can't afford to miss this festival. Which means you better not sack off on your training, Aizawa said as most of the class got excited by this. Yes, sir, the class responded. Class is almost over. But I have something to say first. Midoriya, Aizawa called out Izuku, who flinched when he heard his name. Why yes sir, Izuku said, nervous on what his homeroom teacher will say. You're in charge of taking care of our new student, Aizawa said as everyone looked surprised that Izuku was in charge on taking care of a new student, but the question is, who was this new student? SS sir. Who is this new student and why me? Izuku asked. Because you met her before and she asked you and only you. You'll meet her soon, so don't mess up. Class is dismissed, Aizawa said as he left the room, probably to go sleep, leaving a scared and confused Izuku to think on one thing. Who is this person and why me? Time skip brought to you by Chibi Zia and Chibi Izuku playing fetch with Chibi Ship. Cementos left homeroom 1A with a few books in his arm, which showed that his class was done for the day. The class were discussing on the hot topic at hand. The sports festival. Yeah, that villain stuff sucks. But I'm pumped of these games, Kirishima yelled as he was with Sato and Tokoyami. We put on a good show, and we on the road onto being pros, Shiro said as he walked up to the trio. Yeah, this is why I'm here in the first place, Sato said while hitting his fist onto his other hand. We get so few chances, we have to make the most of this, Tokoyami said, /N. When I hear that line, I immediately start thinking for the song. Make the most of it from the amazing world of Gumball from that one episode. Izuku was by his desk, thinking on the new student he was chosen to take care of. He tried to think on who was it BYT replaying his memories from the past few days, but he drew a blank on it. He was so focused on this, he didn't hear footsteps appearing him. Hey Midori! He felt a hand grab his shoulder, which caused him to look up and see a pair of floating clothes. He knew exactly who this was, and it caused him to go into his usually state of timid and shy Izuku as once again, someone has invaded his safe bubble. HHH, hey Hagyuker. Chach, how's it going? He said. Sorry if I'm interrupting your thing Midori, but I wanted to say thank you for saving us back at the USJ by beating those baddies and came to see how you're doing. Considering that you nearly died and got kidnapped, Hagyuker said, which caused Izuku to go red in the face from her words. TTT, thanks for TT those words, Izuku said as he tries to cover his face and hide in a hole. No problem. There's actually something else I need your help on, Toru said as she did some poses with rising her left fist and then her right one. I need your help on helping me get noticed at the festival. Like a cheer or a hip hip hooray. Like that. After all, you are a quirk expert, Toru said. WWL. I guess I could help out. If it'll help you GG get noticed, Izuku said, already having a few ideas on it. Toru bounced in place from his words and hugged the boy. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Toru said happily, unaware of the boy she's holding onto as he was steaming. Not too far from them, Momo was looking at the two as she narrowed her eyes at the invisible girl before glancing toward Izuku and his watch. She was interested in it since seeing it in action. She sometimes thought that the watch was more than what Izuku thinks it is. She was chatting with Jairu, Shoji and Kaminari as they were talking about the upcoming event. You're so lucky, Shoji. People are bound to notice your unique quirk, Kaminari said while sitting on a desk. Sure, but what matters is how I show how useful I can be, the masked teen said. No doubt you'll make a scene too, Jairu said as she remembers what happens when Kaminari uses his quirk and goes past his limit. That didn't make the electric quirk user all too happy. After chatting and making aka willingly arrangements for help later, Izuku made his way to Ida. At the same time, he sees everyone is excited by the sports festival. He was shocked to see at the very moment. This is going to be nuts. Everyone's so excited, Izuku said with a shocked face. Well, yeah, of course we are. We enrolled at this school with the sole aim to become heroes. So naturally, we're fired up, Ida said as he got up from his desk and started doing. Dance move? Wow. Those are some interesting moves, Ribbit, Sue said as she, Mina and Lucy went to the boys. You have to be excited too, right? Midoriya? Ida asked. Well, yeah, of course I am. And also nervous, Izuku answered. Izuku, Ida, Ashido, Man, Ajui. The four turn around as they heard Uraraka calling them, but they were surprised to see her usually cheerful, bubbly face turn into an intense, fierce yet fired-up face. It didn't help her new scary expression as she had a pink aura around her. Let's do our best in the sports festival, the newly intense girl said. Uraraka, what happened to your face? Izuku asked, shaking in fear while Ida adjusts his glasses upon seeing Uraraka's new aura. Seriously, what's up? You're normally like the most laid-back girl ever, Mina asked. Mineta blushes while standing next to Tsuyu. He was about to say something when Tsu slapped him with her tongue. She stopped him, knowing fully well that he was about to say something indecent. I'm gonna do my best. Uraraka suddenly yells with a comedic scary face while her fist was in the air. Everyone followed suit while some of the boys next to them looked at her, strangely. I said, I'm gonna do my best. Uraraka yells again as Shiro, Kirishima, Sato, and Tokoyami sweat drop from this display. Got it, Kirishima said. You okay? Kidna looks like you're losing it, Shiro said. Now that I think about it, that's something I've been meaning to ask her, Izuku thought, remembering something he wanted to know since the beginning of the school year. Lunchtime had come at U.A and the group of Izuku, Uraraka, Momo, Tsuyu, Mina, Lucy, and Toru were making their way to the cafeteria for some grubs. Izuku remembered the thing Hai needed to know about Uraraka. Hey Uraraka? Izuku called out the rosy-cheeked girl. Yeah, what's up? Uraraka responded. Why did you decide to come to U.A? What made you want to become a pro-hero? Izuku asked, causing the girl to get nervous. Well, Uraraka was trying to find the right words, but so far, nothing. Come on, you can tell us, Lucy said, trying to reassure her friend. You don't have to if you don't feel like it. We won't force you to tell us, Momo said. The gravity quirk user started feeling a massive amount of pressure. She decided she had to answer this question. For the money, Uraraka answered, causing the others to look at her. For the money? You want to be a hero so you can get rich? Izuku said as the anti-grav girl started to rub her head with her left arm at a surprising pace. If we're cutting to the chase, then yeah, Uraraka said. Wow. Didn't expect that from you, Lucy said, surprised by her reason. I'm sorry if it sounds greedy. You all have great reasons to become heroes. I hope you don't think less for me now, Uraraka said as she held her hands to her face. Not at all. Your goal is to support your well-being, which is an admirable admission to have, Ida said. Yeah, it's just kind of surprising, Izuku said. Uraraka sighed and looked at them. Well, you see, my family owns a construction company, but we haven't gotten any work lately, so we're flat broke. Anyway, this isn't something I usually tell other people to, but Uraraka said as everyone placed their hand on their chin in a thinking pose. Construction, eh? Ida said. Oh, if she got a license, she could use her quirk to bring costs down a lot, Izuku said, seeing the solution to her problem. Right, that way they could sell their heavy machines and save, Ida said. Which could bring more clients to the company, Tsuyu said. Which means more money for them, Lucy said. I know, right? That's what I've been telling my dad since I was a kid. But, Uraraka said as she started to remember and told them the words her father said after he learned her plans to help him and her mom out. I'm gonna become a pro, I'll sign with a good agency and make plenty of money. Then I'll be able to make my parents have an easy life, Uraraka said before clutching her fists in a serious matter. It costed everyone there to be moved from those words. And then Ida started clapping to her words. That's beautiful. So noble. Bravo. 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 Ida yelled while clapping. To do this just to help your parents. It's beautiful. I'm proud of you, Achiko, Momo said while wiping a tear away. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Helping your parents is great, Mina said as she, Toru and Lucy rushed to the anti-grav girl and hugged her, which caused Uraraka to blush and giggle while returning the hug. Izuku just smiled at her, feeling like all of them had one great reason to be heroes. Ha 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 ha. Suddenly, all the students heard a man's laughter. Everyone turned to the corner of a hallway and were stunned to see All Might himself rushing towards them. Young Midoriya is here, All Might said as he points to the Omnitrix user who was stunned by his predecessor's appearance. WWO All Might, what are you doing here? Izuku asked. Lunch. The number 1 hero had a bento box in his hand which was covered by a blue cloth with white bunny ears on it. Wanna eat with me? All Might asked. That's so adorable, Uraraka yelled, almost laughing. What do you say? All Might asked. Izuku looked back to his friends and got a nod of approval from them. Go Izuku. We'll see you after lunch, okay? Momo said with a smile which the boy returned before jogging to him mentor. I wonder what's up? Izuku thought. Back at the group, they were in the cafeteria waiting in line so they could get their own food. I wonder what All Might wants to talk to Izuku about? Uraraka said, wondering what the two could possibly talk about. Maybe to say thank you for saving everyone at the USJ and stopping the villains, Ida said. Maybe he wants to talk to Midori on how their quirks are similar in terms of power, Toru said. Yeah. Remember what I said in the bus to the USJ? Tsu said as the group indeed remember the conversation she and Izuku had while riding the bus that day. Yeah, so lucky, Uraraka said. Lucy and Mina knew that the Omnitrix wasn't the reason of the meeting, but they were curious as to why All Might has taken a liking to Izuku. Excuse me. The group turn around and see Kinoko behind them as she looks shy and holding a green bento box. Oh hey Komori. How are you Ribbit? Tsuyu asked, remembering who this girl was. I am fine. TT thanks F for asking Azui. WWW where's Izuku? Kinoko asked the group, clearly seeing that the green-haired boy wasn't in the cafeteria. Oh, he's having lunch with All Might. He probably won't be back until after lunch, Lucy said as the mushroom quirk user felt sand from her words. She really wanted to see Izuku again as she hasn't seen him since the USJ incident. Oh, Kanoko said, feeling sad. You know, you could eat with us. And maybe you can see him before class starts again, Lucy said, clearly seeing what was happening here, and she wasn't the only one. I like that. If you don't mind, Kanoko said. Not at all, we'd be happy to have you sit with us for lunch, Ida said as the shy girl went with them. She felt eyes glazing at her, but she was nervous as it is to look who was looking at her. Unaware that 5 girls were looking at the poor girl like she was fresh meat. As the group processed to their food, one individual was listening onto their conversation and picked up on a few interesting details. Izuku Midoriya and All Might. What do they have in common? With Izuku. Izuku was walking to the teacher's lounge with All Might. So All Might? What's up? Izuku asked the pro. We need to talk about a few things. About the sports festival, OFA, and who'll train you, All Might said as Izuku nodded before he picked up on what he said. Wait, train me? Who's going to train me? Izuku asked as they reached the door. Them? All Might said as he opens the door and Izuku see Nizu in the room and drinking tea, Zia, wearing new clothes and was playing with the black blob from before. AC, who had an altered female version of the U.A uniform, and 2 people he was surprised to see here of all places. His mom in a formal wear and Tetrax, who was wearing a shirt, black pants with his gun on it and a black tie to complete the look. Hey kid, Tetrax said casually. Hi sweetie. Inko greeted her son, who only had one thing to say. To be continued. And that's a wrap on part 14, folks. If you haven't seen the earlier parts yet, make sure to visit the playlist. A huge shout out to the author. Don't forget to show your support. I'll be back soon. Thanks for tuning in.